Welcome to the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota for a men's semifinal matchup here at the U.S. Open as Raleigh Ring of Fire gets set to take on Seattle Sockeye. The other semifinal going on right now, New York Pony taking on Truck Stop. Hi everybody, I'm Charlie Eisenhood alongside Cody Mills. We've got a great matchup between two teams that have a lot of similarities, both losing in the semifinals of Nationals last season, but also some notable differences as the teams have kind of gone slightly different directions to start this season.
Yeah, you're right, Charlie. After both losing in the semis last year, Ring of Fire has experienced a bit of a youth movement. They had 9 players on the U24 teams this summer, which speaks to how young the roster is, whereas Sockeye has returned the majority of their semifinalist roster. And as Ring looks to integrate these new players, they haven't had as many practices yet, so we're still finding their identity and have had up and down results. They got blown out by one of the other semifinalists and beat the 4th semifinalist, whereas Sockeye is undefeated on the year, having won the Pro Elite Challenge, and are looking to win their 2nd U.S. Open title this weekend and maintain that perfect record.
Yeah, and both teams have had some great moments and some moments of weakness. Obviously, Sockeye hasn't lost any games, but they were in a game against Machine that they maybe should have lost. Ring of Fire, on the other hand, has looked very good outside of that game against Truck Stop, and it should be a great one here this afternoon. It will be Ring of Fire in the whites with orange trim, getting set to pull here to get us underway. Sockeye in all black, a counterpoint to their all gray uniforms that they were wearing yesterday. We are underway. A big hanging pull caught by Chris Kasednar for Sockeye, and that's how this game gets started.
With a call.
With a call.
Hopefully not indicative of things to come.
Certainly two teams with a lot of energy and passion. Maybe a game where we could see some fireworks. Simon Montague finds Jacob Janin on the under. The stalwart Matt Rader swings it back across to Kasednar. Montague looks at the deep, finds Trent Dillon underneath.
You can see Sockeye setting up the strong side isolation lane, but the Ring defenders are doing a good job of helping off of their man to shrink the passing lanes.
Montague still with eyes for the end zone and goes and hits a cutter across the front of the end zone. Matt Rader with the score. Sockeye holds to start the game.
Pretty smooth to start, all things considered, from Sockeye. In the last few years, Sockey's depth of throwing talent and athleticism has led to them being an extremely dominant offensive force. Really the only way that teams can consistently get turns off Sockeye has been the conditions and the wind or suspect decision making. And if Sockeye can stay out of trouble as far as decisions, we'll see a lot of holds just like that one.
Take another look at the score. Rader just beating his mark across the front of the end zone. And the sunshine has been really beating down this afternoon after really some clouds earlier in the day kept the temperatures down, but it's hot and humid here in Minneapolis. Both of these teams had a game this morning in the quarterfinals at 8:30 a.m., so they've had lots of time to rest and prepare for this semifinal matchup.
We'll see Christian Poster on the pull here for Sockeye, one of the best pullers in the men's division, consistently pinning other teams deep into their end zone with a pull that's both floaty and difficult to catch, which gives his defense time to get down and pressure the first throw.
And you can see why he's considered a great puller as that floats back inbounds, and the Sockeye defense is already ready for that centering pass. This comes around to the outside for Dylan Lanier. Ahead to Henry Fisher, and then to Eric Taylor. Lots of young players out here on offense for this Ring of Fire team, and there's the leader, Jack Williams.
A little confusion down here for Ring as they can't decide whether they want to switch their stack side or go vert.
Noah Saul looking deep, and a perfect throw on target. Drops into the end zone for Lanier, and Ring gets a clean hold to match Sockeyes.
A little confusion in the middle, but that's no problem if you can just put your throw out to one cutter who's on the same page as you. Throw right over it.
And 2 defenders in the space, but throw got there first. And Lanier coming off of a really strong college season at Carleton, heads to the sideline after picking up his first goal of the game.
Hey, Dylan Lanier, a hometown player for this Raleigh Ring of Fire team, a North Carolina native who grew up in the Triangle area. As we see him make the catch in traffic there. Little baby spike just to put the exclamation point on it.
And, you know, given the conditions, very little wind here, in stark contrast to some past tournaments here in Blaine, means that we could see lots of very high-quality offense today.
Certainly. Last night in the Ring of Fire versus Truck game, there was also very little wind, and Truck highlighted that fact by repeatedly throwing deep and just putting receivers in stride in the end zone. Definitely changes your strategy as much as the presence of conditions can affect how you play a team. If there are no conditions, it means every throw on the field is available, so you have to adjust accordingly.
Great pull, fielded by Kasednar, center to Montague.
Side stack from Sockeye, not necessarily their preferred look, but they're one of the most variable teams when it comes to initial offensive sets.
Trent Dillon, inside forehand swing, disc ahead to Freechild. Bryce Dixon finds a cutter all alone in the end zone. Kasednar starts the point by catching the pole, finishes it by catching the goal.
Nice inside flat break there from Bryce Dixon. Cut his teeth in as we take another look here, perhaps. Dylan Freechild throws the around. The defender has to seal, but Dixon confidently steps out, just puts it on a shelf for Kasednar to run onto. Dixon really cut his teeth as a handler at the University of Arizona, graduating in 2013 after winning Southwest Player of the Year honors. So a slightly higher difficulty throw like that is right in his wheelhouse.
Good back and forth offense to start the game. Sockeye won the Pro Elite Challenge a couple weeks ago in Denver, topping Truck Stop on double game point, and looking to keep perfect on the season. And it's no surprise to see this Sockeye team with the kind of success they're having so far here in 2019. Not only a program with tons of legacy, but also a team that looks very similar to a team last year that was probably the second best team in the country behind the national champion Pony.
Yeah, transitive property. They lost to Pony by 1, Revolver lost by 7.
Jack Williams back to Noah Saul. Williams gets open into a power position, but opts for the under to Taylor. Taylor looking deep. And it's caught on the far sideline. Lanier hammers back across the field. And Liam Searles Bowes hauls in the goal. And lots of open cutters downfield for Ring of Fire.
Unconventional motion from Ring, though, in their if the truck stop game is any indication, perhaps it's starting to become conventional. Their offense often operates by trying to create a strong side that switches as the disc moves on either side of the field. So it's a little counterintuitive for Taylor to catch it on that bottom of the screen sideline and then throw across the field to Lanier there and make him toe the line, then have Lanier throw across the field again to Searles Bowes. But hard to argue with results.
Lots of space for cutters.
It's like they're throwing into the congestion, though.
Yeah, I mean, they are going back across the grain, and as you point out, not typical. Normally teams like to work up a side and then maybe switch the field and work up the break side. But they're just ping-ponging it back and forth. for their second goal of the game.
To be fair, we know that Sockeye is the type of team that when the stack moves to the far side, the defenders are going to try and play out into the middle of the field and not respect those cleared cutters. So by throwing over them and hitting one of those cutters, you are to an extent keeping them honest, which could help for the future. But a tight window on that across field blade, to be sure. The hammer was pretty wide open.
Taylor's going to stay out there on this defensive point. He'll be pulling. And we're going to have a timeout on the field. So waiting right until the pull was about to go up, Sockeye takes a timeout.
First of what might be quite a few stoppages this game, but we'll take advantage of that time to talk about Eric Taylor. He's leading the team with 8 assists on the weekend to go with his 4 goals, and recently won a gold medal with the U24 men's team where he was one of the team captains. And an off-field fact about him, he collects fountain pens. It's more of a quality over quantity collection.
Okay.
But he has, I believe, 4 relatively high-end pens with different sets of ink that he can switch in and out for them.
Wow.
It's a growing collection, but certainly a hobby of his that I found interesting.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know that I know anybody else that does that, but
I don't even know if I know someone who writes with a fountain pen.
These days, with computers. But that's very cool.
And Eric Taylor puts up a huge pull there, something he was really known for in the college division as well.
We were getting a display of really fantastic pulling so far in the game. Christian Foster doing the same for Sockeye. Seattle offense back to work. Montague in power position, steps into a backhand. Lots of space for Dylan Freechild, although it's hanging, but Freechild makes the play and zips it. Oh, it goes off the top corner. Went for the upper 90, just missed. Ticks away off the metal of the soccer goal behind the end zone. But Freechild gets his first goal of the game, and Seattle stays perfect.
Yeah, you saw Seattle come out there stacking at the bottom of the screen and running the flood play across the field for Rader to come back and get the under. He had to make a couple moves to get it, got the under, eventually feeds Montague on the up line after maybe the mark got switched. The huck hangs, but Freechild able to just get a better read and elevate to get up over Walker Matthews, runner-up for College Defensive Player of the Year this year, and bring in the score. Matthews had good position there, but Freechild benefited from the run-up. Oftentimes, as a defender, you want to make sure that you back up and don't let somebody get the jump off of the spot that they really want while still protecting the optimal height. I think Matthews may have been a little late to realize that he had Freechild coming in with a run behind him, so couldn't seal off that run-up. But also just a great play by Freechild.
And a prime hucking opportunity there for Montague.
Yeah, the power position, especially down the break side with the mark not sealing.
Another towering pull. Slices back into the middle of the end zone. Caught by Searles Bose. He gets it up ahead to Alan Laviolette. Lots of touches as the disc pings around. And now Searles Bose looking deep for Jack Williams. Double coverage. Trent Dillon trying to get in front, and Jack Williams climbs the ladder, going over both defenders for what looks like an easy goal. Tremendous play from Williams.
Yeah, if you're Sockeye, you just have to tip your cap on that one. Williams set his cut up well, getting to the break side and going deep. You see Trent Dillon come off at the stack side to help in the deep space. Taking a look here, the huck is going up. Dillon has come off a stack from the bottom of the screen to go and help, but Williams just elevates, reads it better, jumps higher, cashes in the goal.
And that's great defense from Trent Dillon to have the awareness to get down there and make himself a presence on the play, but never really had a chance to line up where the disc was. And you see him looking back up over his shoulder, and Jack Williams never took his eye off it.
To Dylan's credit, he waited. If he leaves early there anticipating the huck, then the back of stack cutter that he's leaving is just going to come for a free under in the flat space. So he waited until the huck was actually imminent and then took off, which potentially cost him the half second at getting a better read.
We're 6 points into the game. No turnovers yet. Both teams, despite really excellent pulls that have pinned the offenses deep in their own end zone, have looked very sharp here in the early going. Or standard floating pull, this time going towards the back of the end zone, and it will land inbounds. So another great pull, this time centered up to Sednar. Montague again gets into a power position, looks off the huck, comes underneath to Zach Goulson.
Ring doing some great switching downfield, almost leads to a J.D. Hastings poach block there, but the disc finds the ground anyway.
Yeah, I think some hesitation there from Dylan Freechild, maybe concerned about Hastings coming into that space. And our first turnover of the game comes on a Sockeye O point. Ring with a chance to break. Dangerous pass and a foul called. Elijah Long didn't like the contact with Goulson.
Also showing off his knowledge of the whiff-diff hand signals. Crossed arms for the foul.
We've seen a lot of that this weekend. I think the under 24 players have really brought that to their club teams. Long catches the reset and a pick call, and you see him again immediately throw up the symbol for a pick.
And you can see downfield, Freechild and Raider doing some switching of their own, bracketing the last two people in the stack. We'll see if they flood this bracket.
J.D. Hastings comes underneath. Lots of switching from Sockeye, making it difficult for Ring to connect with their downfield cutters. Long with the wide swing to Milan Ravenel.
Looks like it'll go back to Birdsong there.
Stan Birdsong covered by Raider, right on the near sideline. He flips it ahead to Anders Jungst, who's looking to the end zone, and that drops in over the top of the defender. Joey Cretella makes the catch, and Ring gets the first break of the game to take a 4-3 lead.
Just a beautiful back shoulder fade on his flick from Anders Jungst there. If you're a College Ultimate fan, you might have seen him do that for head coaches Mike Denardis and David Allison with North Carolina Darkside. The guy does love his flick, and you can see his confidence there, catching the under and immediately turning to fade that throw. A lot of players will opt for a hammer there because of the flight path falling from left to right instead of right to left, which doesn't give the defender a shot at it. But if you have that kind of touch, you can fade it back shoulder just as easily and perhaps a little quicker with a flick.
And so we will now take a heat timeout. We are at level 1 heat conditions here in Blaine. The humidity definitely up this afternoon. So they take an extra 3 minutes when a team reaches the 4th point or 4 goals in the game. And we'll do the same if we're still under a level 1 heat advisory at the first team to reach 12 points. So we get an extra long break here between these 2 points. And, you know, a relatively even game so far. Just the one miscue for Sockeye leading immediately to a break. We've had just the one turn.
Yeah, I think there have been some high difficulty throws that have landed for both teams. Freechild had a sky, probably a few more for Ring, honestly. But Jack Williams and Freechild both skied in the left end zone. Anders is flicked just now, fading to the back corner. Those are throws that these players can and will make consistently, particularly at the beginning of the game when nobody's tired and when it's not windy, but we'll see if that wears on through the pressure and the fatigue of a long game.
So Raleigh up the break, 4-3. We'll be back.
Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go take down the field.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe. Ring of Fire coming off the heat timeout with a break in hand on the game's lone turnover. And they'll be pulling from the opposite end zone for the first time this game. Joey Curtella will be on pulling duties. Other men's semifinal just got to halftime. Pony leading Truck Stop 8-7. Those teams have been playing some great games against one another the last couple of years. Truck got the better of Pony at a preseason tournament. Pony up by one right now. Dylan Freechild holding for Sockeye. Gets the reset to Dylan. Big pump fake from Montague, gets his mark on the ground. Jacob Jannon dishes to Montague. Montague floats one, and Dylan can't pull it down against the defender. Alex Davis making some contact and an uncontested foul called against Davis. So it will be Trent Dillon's disc 5 yards from the end zone. Not a great throw from Montague there, but Dillon clearly had position on the whole time, and Davis didn't even hesitate to call a no contest.
You can see Ring setting up some switches on the handler fills.
Matt Rader looking for Jannon, and it's knocked away. Jack Williams getting way up over the top and not giving Jannon any chance of pulling that one down. But it looks like it will be coming back. And it's going to be a foul on the mark. I believe uncontested. So the disc will stay with Sockeye. Rader flips one to Montague. Montague push pass into the end zone for Freechild. And now another call, a push-off called against Freechild, and some discussion between the players. It's Austin Van Alten covering Freechild. Reset with Montague. Stall coming in on one. Dylan needs a reset. Flips it out for Rader. Rader goes back to the inside lane and gets it into the hands of Kasednar. So Sockeye answers with a hold.
You can see Sockeye work their end zone give and go motion there. Trent Dillon swings across the field to the open side, takes off. Alex Davis actually does a great job to make up the ground and make it a contested throw. But before that happened, the front of the stack, seeing Dillon with a few yards open space, came out to try and help on that up line cut, which left the top of stack cutter open. Also prior to that, before Montague almost turned over that huck, did a really good job of exploiting his mark being on the ground. If you remember, he threw that huge backhand pump fake. The mark laid out to stop it. he immediately dished to the break side and kept running to maintain that break edge, which opened up his huck shot. Not the throw he wanted, but really good awareness of Montague to realize that his defender was on the ground and he could eventually open up a break side look like that.
And it is about those thin margins at this level. Both teams very smart defensively. I mean, you might call these, maybe not after last season with the way that Pony developed defense that was obviously tremendously successful against San Francisco Revolver, but these are probably the two teams that you think of as the most defensively innovative and that you think of as defensive specialists in the club men's division.
Certainly, across the board, a lot of high IQ ultimate players here and a lot of experience playing with each other in similar systems that allows switches to be more intuitive across the board.
Searles Bose takes the centering pass for a ring. Dylan Lanier looking deep, turns off the backhand, but goes with the forehand. It's hanging, but Henry Fisher goes up over the top, and Ring's big downfield receivers are having no trouble, even in double coverage.
Huge play by Henry Fisher. You can't teach tall. I think it's a decision and a throw that Lanier would want back. He had the window, but then he had to rush it. But it's always good to have a safety blanket like Henry Fisher downfield. You have to feel like Ring of Fire is living on the edge a little bit and is at least in danger of regressing to the mean with a few tight window throws that have gone their way so far.
Well, that time, the throw maybe was there initially on the backhand side, but then when Lanier turned that off, you're right, the second throw, and that's not a throw that I think coaches would ever say that was a good choice. But what we've seen is big receivers with that experience in Fisher and Williams have been able to make those plays.
Yeah. To be fair, I think Lanier didn't get the execution he wanted out of the throw. But I agree that the choice was also suboptimal.
Joey Cretella set to pull. This pull trailing along the sideline and lands out of bounds. So really one of the first bad pulls we've seen the whole game.
Yeah, this game has been a clinic in pulling.
Montague will bring it to the brick mark, marked by Josh Hartzog.
You can see Elijah Long and J.D. Hastings in the lanes there to try and disrupt the pull play. Montague threads the needle with that high release backhand in spite of it, though.
Jannon resets to Montague. Strong undercut from Bryce Dixon. Trent Dillon finds Freechild. Phil Murray.
You can see Ring defenders downfield start to transition and orbit to no unders as the deep space becomes shorter and shorter.
Jannon high release backhand. A Raider had an open cutter, didn't throw it. Flips to Jannon. Jannon forehand into the end zone. Finds Murray. And a smooth score for Sockeye. Patience through some tricky defense from Ring of Fire.
Yeah, patience, sound decision making. Like we mentioned earlier, Sockeye has the technical skill to play through almost any defense out there. The technical skill and awareness. That flat backhand, high release break that Jannon caught before he threw the score. I mean, at the elite club level, everybody has that, but it's something that Sockeye should execute 99% of the time and not try and force something fancier. Maybe like a longer around flick up line. They're taking what's given to them, hitting the throws in their system, staying poised, and it's led to essentially a clean sheet. They've given up the one break, but a lot of clean offense.
Here we see Xander Cuizon-Tice. He's coming off a great season with Oregon Ego in the college division. And just won a gold medal at U24 Worlds.
Yeah, with teammate Eric Taylor, our other player spotlight for this game. Another fact about Xander Cuizon-Tice, that he was accepted to the Music Conservatory program at USC for violin. Opted not to do that despite his playing history with the violin. Instead is a product design major at the University of Oregon, where he's equally successful. One of his products was selected by a company that the university was contracted with, and he ended up flying to Italy to present it to the company. But back to the Frisbee.
Rolling pull there. And why? Do you know why he chose not to pursue violin?
I think part of his decision was influenced by Ultimate Frisbee and the success of Ego.
Well, there you go. So, a multi-talented young man. As the shot goes up from Searles Bowes, back of the end zone, but it's going to be well out the back. So that's Ring of Fire's first turnover of the game. And so now Sockeye will have a chance to break back and get the game back on serve.
Actually, I love that shot by Searles Bowes. Maybe not the throw that he wanted, but Williams set his cut up beautifully, or Lanier set his cut up beautifully, took off. Just a little too spicy.
So our first look at the offense from this Sockeye D-line. And a turnover straight away. Nathan Kwan drops a hot pass coming underneath. And so a short field now for Ring, looking to hold their O point. Williams underneath to Lanier. Lanier, cross-field shot to Searles Bowes, who goes up and hauls it in. What a throw from Dylan Lanier. Manages to keep that one in bounds. Cody is speechless.
Maybe Sockeye should force them backhand. They clearly feel comfortable with their flick.
Another forehand assist and a high degree of difficulty nonetheless.
Yeah, but beautiful execution. That window is narrow. You have to get it over the stack. You can't let it run out of bounds. You can't hang it too long or else the defender will close. Lanier checks all those boxes. To be fair, Searles Bowes did have space, and he's a competent receiver, but
that's just a great pass from Dylan Lanier.
Again, I would love to see a hammer. Hammers didn't kill anybody.
Well, the way that Searles Bowes was coming into that space, though, the blade is a little bit more of an appealing throw because he's coming onto the disc there, because he was coming from the backfield, basically.
I see your point. The flight path is what really gets me, because it gives you a lot more margin for error. Like, you don't have to score. You can throw it a step behind him and he can stop and catch it.
Well, that's not the Ring way. You've got to get it in the end zone.
I mean, the Ring way is working, so we can do whatever they're doing.
6-5.
Great pull.
Raleigh holding the lead. Side stack from Seattle to start the point. Matt Rader dishes back to Montague. Free Child cuts across the field and collects. Jannon. Now working back towards the break side. Phil Murray now continues up the fore side. Murray break side into the hands of Cuizon-Tice, and clinical offense from Sockeye.
Yeah, Sockeye in the short field is doing a really good job of moving horizontally. They're a team. Ring is a team that will load up that strong side of the field in the last third, try and get a couple little swishes just to run out the count on you. But Sockeye's doing a really good job in that case, moving from left to right, top to bottom of the screen, to take advantage of that help defense and favoring of the strong side to just score on the backside of the play. If you don't move the disc quickly against a smart team like Ring, it's going to be tough sledding, but Sockeye in the last third of the field has been lightning.
And I think you see the stylistic differences there on those last 2 points between the two teams so far this game. You know, Ring taking big shots, looking to go cross field, and from Sockeye, more what you'd consider standard offense, going up the open side and then switching the field back to the break side. Nothing particularly difficult about any of those throws. And I think, Cody, maybe that's why you think that Ring has been living on the edge, as you said.
Yeah, but, I mean, let's not – I'll reserve the possibility that Sockeye does that as well. I've seen Simon Montague throw that throw. I know he has it. So it could definitely happen. But, yes, it's a little easier to put your eggs in the dump swing basket than the crossfield blade basket.
Roller pull.
See if this sets up a junk from Sockeye.
Searles Bowes to Noah Saul.
Nothing particularly set. Nice bid from Garrett Martin.
Eric Taylor looking deep. Fisher's got steps, and he catches in front of the back line. Beautiful cut from Henry Fisher, and another great throw from Eric Taylor.
Dime ball flick, fading back shoulder. Even if it was bad, Henry Fisher is tall. You have to change something up, I think. Clearly deep flicks are good. Like, they have that one covered. But perhaps it's a regression to the mean thing, but these North Carolina guys are good at throwing flicks.
And they have been good. They've been great all game. And we saw some different things. And we've seen the big arcing pulls. We saw the roller pull that time, but they never really got into the defense. Ring did a good job. I mean, in some ways, you kind of think of North Carolina as a place that the roller pull is really pioneered.
Yeah, I was curious not to see a junk look off of that roller pull. Often you want to, if you can control the side of the field that the offense is putting it in on, or if you can put them on the sideline, it's ideal for setting a trap, especially if you cover it. But maybe Sockeye just wanted to change up the look. They've been throwing these floating pulls, just keep the offense out of that rhythm, give them something new to deal with.
Taylor out there again, getting lots of minutes here for Raleigh.
I feel a little bit of wind right now, so maybe those deep shots will get a little bit of turbulence in future points. We'll see if that affects Sockeye on this 0 point.
This is a massive upwind pull from Taylor. Sockeye centers to Montague. And now he looks deep, but there's help off the backside. Can Rader make a play? No, but a layout from Janin saves the play. And Sockeye stays with it, and Janin gets into the end zone. Oh, what a point for Jacob Janin as Sockeye gets it to 7-7, and we come to double half point.
Yeah, you see Sockeye run that same flood play that they've run to initiate for Rader a couple times, flooding 1 through 4 in the stack across and giving Rader either an under. In this case, the under was covered, so he turned and went deep. Obviously, he's a great deep target for a thrower like Montague. Sockeye puts it up to him. Alex Davis is able to come off and play some good help defense, not give Rader a line, and the hustle play by Janin leads to the hold.
See Janin getting some plaudits from his teammates. Rader had tried to go up early, and Janin somehow makes the play. I mean, he was 15 yards away. Look at him make up this ground, just running down there. And then dishes right back to Rader, and a quick move gets open in the end zone.
Yeah, great hustle by Jacob Janin to score a big hold for his team. Jacob, I wish you had done that last game when we player spotlighted you.
You don't want to put the commentator's curse on him, Cody.
Well, we'll say it again. Jacob Janin, best chef on Sockeye.
That's what we've heard. That's what we've heard, which was news to his coach. And now his Mike Caldwell looking forward to trying out Jacob's cooking at some point. See the Ring offensive line. Noah Saul taking the reins in that center handling position as John Nethercutt left the team this season. Moved to Denver, Colorado, playing for Johnny Bravo now. And I think there was perhaps an expectation that Ring would take some time to have to figure it out without Nethercutt leading the offense. This is their first tournament of the season, Ring of Fire, and they really haven't practiced much either. And I think that makes it impressive how much chemistry and how well they've been playing this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned earlier they had 9 people gone for the U24 tournament, and that really hampered practice efforts. And they're still integrating some of the new faces into their team. You see Mark Rovner's on the sidelines, Alex Davis is a new player, and putting those things together is always difficult. They kind of benefit from the fact that a lot of these players are Carolina natives, and a lot of the youth teams in Carolina are coached by ring players, so the systems are very similar.
Saul catches the pull, gets it to Searles Bowes, immediately looking deep for Williams, but this throw, not a good one. It goes well out of bounds. And again, double coverage from Sockeye, playing great help defense off the back. Sockeye's second chance. It'll be Ben Snell checking it in. Billy Katz dishes to Snell. Trent Dillon puts his head down going deep, but not quite enough float underneath that one. Dillon can't get there. So now the Sockeye D-line 0 for 2 on chances. Noah Saul picking up for Raleigh.
See Ben Snell playing a little bit of deep help here, but Elijah Long, aware of that, brings him into the underspace to set up the isolation for LaViolette and Fisher.
LaViolette looking deep. Fisher has steps. Will this one come back inbounds? It will not. So back-to-back missed hucks from Ring. And we may see this disc come back up the field a bit, depending on when it went out of bounds. And it looks like the far side observer is marking off about 15 yards up from the end zone, sort of just behind the brick mark. Snell again, checking it in. Sockeye trying to break to take half. Katz. Reset to Snell. Matty Russell looking downfield, has to reset.
Good awareness from Jack Williams pressuring that throw despite guarding Trent Dillon in the handler space. Oh, and just a cold drop from Matt Rader on a dish.
Williams puts it up deep. Looking for Fisher again out of the end zone. This one too long. So an overthrow out the right-hand side and then the left-hand side and now out the back. So Sockeye with another opportunity on easily the game's sloppiest point.
Yeah, only 7 turns in this game, I believe, so far, and I think that's 4 for this point.
Actually, that was the 5th turnover of the point. 3 Ring turns, 2 Sockeye turns. Christian Foster out to the sideline for Dillon. Some heavy hitters out there for Sockeye. Mitch Kolczak breaks the mark, gets it to Foster. Foster all alone, sending it deep for Dillon. Dillon near the back line, attempts the greatest, but there's nobody home. Back to Ring.
Spot of luck there for Ring. Fisher and Jack Williams and Noah Saul were trying to switch in a triangle. Fisher tried to send Dillon to Noah Saul, who didn't quite pick up on it, so that's why he had those deep steps. Lucky for them, a little too much sauce in the throw.
Elijah Long surveys his options and decides instead to call timeout. So a big, turning into a big point, was already a big point when it started, with the team scoring, of course, set to take half. But with all of these turnovers, it feels like this could be a momentum shifting play heading into the break. And Ring still looking to attack deep early and often, and just haven't connected on this point, despite a couple of very good looks with cutters with some steps.
Yeah, that's certainly always been a part of the Ring identity, to attack deep. They're very good at it, so you can see why it's part of their identity, but sometimes you live by it, sometimes you die by it. I don't think the choices have been particularly high percentage, but they also haven't been egregiously careless. So it's up to every team to determine where the line is for their system, and I can see this being within the acceptable range.
It'll be Snell marking long. And this comes in on 4. And Fisher watches the disc sail right through his hands. So some surprising mistakes from each team, from the big men for each team, as Fisher and Rader both have unusual turnovers. And then a big catch on the layout from Russell, saving possession for Sockeye on their 4th chance of the point. Cats ahead to Rader. Russell with energy. Pinned to the sideline. Needs a reset. Finds one with Kulsak.
Sockeye's seen a lot of success dump swinging horizontally here. We'll see if they stick with that recipe.
Snell finds Katz. And to the front of the end zone, it's caught. Christian Foster hauls it in, and Sockeye takes half with a break. What a first half. We're back on serve at 8-7.
Oh, it took 4 tries, but they finally punch it back in. Sockeye does a really great job there, swinging horizontally. Oh, we see Matt Russell save possession with that great right-handed grab on the OAO from Snell. And here, Sockeye scores to the technical open side because their horizontal flow had leveraged the defense to respect the break side. Clinical finish from Sockeye in a big moment to finally break and put this game back on serve.
So 1 break for each team. Ring of Fire a lot more efficient with their opportunities, but at the end of the day, Seattle has the halftime lead here at the National Sports Center in Blaine. We'll send you out with some first half highlights. Look at the play again from Jack Williams. And there were some spectacular moments in this first half. 8-7. Seattle leading Raleigh. We'll be back with you for the second half.
Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go, take down the field.
An UltiWorld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.
Jay Frood. What an incredible layout catch. On free child, and Frood comes down with it. And Nickel goes up.
Sharper rocketing a backhand, looking for Monroe. Monroe chasing after it.
And that's a Callahan.
Cochran's throw deflected again by Higgins.
Dillon with a huge layout grab.
Marcelo Sanchez flies through the air and an incredible catch.
Looking for John Randolph in the end zone, and Randolph gets up and makes the grab.
Welcome back to the National Sports Center here in Blaine, Minnesota, just north of Minneapolis. Sockeye with the 8-7 halftime lead over Ring of Fire. I'm Charlie Eisman alongside Cody Mills. And Cody, what an exciting first half of Ultimate here in this semifinal.
Absolutely, both teams not afraid to use their deep game, Ring of Fire in particular, making some great throws and plays in the deep space. Sockeye with some highlights of their own to balance out some methodical offense, especially in their last possession of the second half that led to them breaking to put this game back on serve. A lot of technical skill on display here, in addition to a lot of raw athletic talent.
We saw some tremendous, mostly offensive highlights in the game. What did you think about the defense that we saw from each team? Didn't see a lot of forced turnovers, mostly just mistakes from a team. Would drop here, a slight overthrow huck there. Do you expect to see some adjustments in the second half?
I think I would. I haven't really seen Ring play junk defense at all this weekend, and that's a change of pace that they often have in their repertoire, but that maybe they're leaving at home for the U.S. Open. But given how clean the offense has been, as a defensive coach, you have to change something up, whether it be the directional force or your macro strategy of junk versus matchup. So I do expect to see some adjustments. I think we've seen moments of impressive D as well, though. Both of these teams are pretty intelligent downfield and do a good job of helping off of cutters who aren't dangerous or switching when their teammate's in a really advantageous position. Ring has set up those triangles against isolation cutting a few times, and has led to half seconds of delay that you could potentially attribute the ensuing turn to. So I think we've seen a lot of that, and I'd expect more of that, and perhaps a few changes of pace. Both of these teams are known for having not just these switching matchup defense looks, but different particular sets. Sockeye has run like a 2-4-1 clam and a 2-3-2 defense in the past. Ring runs that 3-3-1 zone that switches the shape of the cup on the sidelines and in the middle of the field. Not clear. It's not clear to me if at this point in the season these teams want to put those things on a streamed game or show them to their opponent. But if they were really going pedal to the metal in an 8-7 game with 2 breaks, I would expect to see some curveballs thrown.
Ring of Fire huddling up as we get set to begin the second half. Some fans mostly catching some shade back on the hill off the sideline. Dylan Freechild getting ready for the second half, and we are underway.
Yeah, we're seeing Dylan Freechild cross over to the D-line here. He's an offensive regular and definitely sees D-line minutes, but Sockeye putting a premium on this point.
Chuck Williams catching that early under, as he has on most points for Ring's O-line. Searles Bowes underneath. Laviolette, low pass hauled in by Saul. Saul looking deep for Lanier. Lanier lays out and catches the trailing edge with the right hand.
Unbelievable grab by Dylan Lanier right there. Saul exploits Billy Katz being a little too flat on the mark to put it out to space, and Dylan Lanier accelerates, catches it trailing edge, keeps it in bounds. What a play. Take another look here. Katz is a little flat and a little off. Saul puts that flick around, and Lanier going, grabs it trailing edge, caught it just to be sure he didn't run all the way out of bounds. Maybe could have done himself a favor by catching it with his left hand, but snatches it as it goes across his body. What a grab.
Another moment of individual brilliance to tie the game at 8 apiece. Lanier also coming off an appearance with the U.S. national team, the 24s. And I mean, so many players with, you know, United States experience at the international level in this game. And not just at the under 24 level, but at the national level and even the World Games level.
Yeah, certainly. I think at least 11. The 9 who are in this cycle: Mark Robner for U20, Jack Williams for U24.
Cries of Ring.
Haven't heard a boo yet from Ring. They really enjoyed booing themselves to pump themselves up.
Caught some boos yesterday, but not in this game so far, you're right. Montague to Freechild.
You can see Long switching there with Andrew McKelvey.
As Dixon finds Rader, and Rader's pass looking for Montague's much too low. Another turnover for Matt Rader, and Ring will have a chance to regain the lead.
Only the second break chance for Raleigh here. They cashed in their first one. Let's see if they can keep that record perfect.
Elijah Long brings it to the line. Layout to save possession, middle of the end zone from Jungst.
An interesting note, the normal D-line handlers for Ring are Matt Gutierrez and Saul Yannick, who are absent this game.
Yeah, we haven't seen them at all.
Likely coaching the Triforce boys at YCC.
I think that's exactly what it is, Cody.
So we'll see if the makeshift D-line can convert the break.
And both of those guys, Yannick and Gutierrez, have been excellent this weekend. So handling by committee here for Ring. And we haven't really talked about YCC yet in the game, but this is the first day of the Youth Club Championships here at the U.S. Open.
Yes, and normally both these cities, the Triangle area, Raleigh and Seattle, would have 3 to 5 squads here, many of them coached by players on these teams. The Triangle, I believe, does fall in that category, but due to some logistical mishaps, only, I believe, 3 Seattle teams in attendance.
Yeah, missing some teams in the U20 division. Josh Hartzog makes a catch, sliding along the sideline, but a travel called. Long pleading his case to Russell, who called the travel. Let's listen in.
Okay, and you did the last step. You didn't follow the line. Okay. I would call like a foul as well because of the contact on the catch.
Okay. It's still going to come back.
So both players
Travel and a foul.
making a call. Travel and a foul. So it will reset with Long. Euxt bounces to Cretella far side. Cretella looking deep. Raider in pursuit to the back line. A big layout, but it's going to come up empty. Ross Ward calling a foul on Raider. So we'll have to see if the observers end up intervening here as well. Let's listen.
I'm just keeping my line. I don't think I intentionally hit your arm. I think you came into me and started to get this. Which, I think it's clean. I thought I had
Observer ruling, no foul. We're going to start with a check.
So overruled.
In the observer's rule, there is no foul on the
And having watched it in real time, Cody, I didn't think that was anywhere close to being a foul.
Yeah, we have a tough angle, but it seemed clean. Also potentially uncatchable, as I think that's out the back of the end zone by a couple yards.
Either way, it will be Sockeye disc. He's on Tice trying to work to get open, but can't really shake loose. But this time he does. Gets away from McKelvey. Montague thought about the hammer. Now swings it over to Matty Russell. Kasednar. And just misses the pass to Montague. Tried to float it out into space, but put the wrong angle on the throw. Montague lays out, but can't get it. And Raleigh will take a timeout. Anders Euxt catches immediately, calls the timeout. So again, a turnover heavy point, starting to feel like a big point. Both teams have had good chances.
A high momentum point, to be sure. Surprising turnover from Kasedner in the dump set, overthrowing Montague on that up line. Kasedner's pretty rock steady as handlers go, so it was surprising to see him overshoot that. Not much wind or pressure to really make it that difficult to throw, just missed execution.
And just tried to throw that lefty backhand, and it trailed away from Montague instead of floating back towards him. Potentially a costly turnover for Seattle. Players retaking their positions here. Euxt still over the disc. We're going to see some conversation between Ward and Raider, still perhaps debating the previous call at the back of the end zone.
Ring sets vert, not really their look. We'll see if it's a flood.
Ward drops it back off for Jungst. Out to the sideline for Kratella. Kratella looking deep. If it stays in, it's a score, and it sure does. Ring goes back in front, 9-8, and the emphatic kick spike after the break.
And Ring missed that first break chance, but cashes in the second. They're now 2 for 3 on break chances in this game.
Andrew McKelvey with the goal, headed to the bench.
In contrast, Sockeye 1 for 5, so Ring almost twice as efficient on the D-line O side of things.
So we'll see some new faces on the line after that longer point. There'll be some offensive players out there for Ring. The second D-line.
In particular, we see Matt Russell and Trent Dillon over to the O-line. Both of them have seen time on both sides of the disc, but have been primarily D-line players this tournament.
See the Sockeye line. Jack Williams will pull for Raleigh.
Yeah, Jack Williams, a more regular O player, coming over to D. And also, I have spied Saul Yannick running down this pole, so.
Maybe somebody gave him a call. Saul, we need reinforcements. Janin. Swing back to Phil Murray. Freechild zips a quick pass to Russell. Bryce Dixon has to throw a difficult forehand into Montague, but executes it perfectly. Montague reset to Freechild. Across the front of the end zone, into the hands of Murray for another smooth Sockeye score.
Sockeye continuing to be clinical in the red zone. Outside that little mishap from Kassedner on the last point, that horizontal motion has been on point for Sockeye.
Freechild just getting open in the reset space, and Phil Murray timing is cut perfectly off of Freechild.
Yeah, again, that's a bit of an open side score in quotes, but Ring likes to overload that strong side of the field, so even when they're on the wide side of the field, the force middle side where the market's flat, the defender's orbiting over because that inside break is so appealing. But if you're able to swing quickly off, you can exploit that side-to-side advantage. Hit an easy goal, as long as another defender doesn't realize it now, which Ring is good at.
Yeah, they've done a nice job of that this game. 9-9, under 20 minutes to go until we hit the soft cap. There is no hard cap on today's semifinal. And the cheers from the Seattle sideline ring out.
I do see Matt Gutierrez over there. Looks like he's about to cleat up, or has arrived and is putting his socks on. So we'll see if these late reinforcements can make a difference in the game.
Christian Foster's pull floats down into the hands of Searles Bowes, and he gets it to Noah Saul. Jack Williams midfield. Saul high pass to Taylor, under pressure, but makes the catch. Lanier.
Great work by Sockeye to switch by Ring to switch the field here.
Williams around to Saul. Across to Lanier. Williams working hard, but a pick called. Trent Dillon getting tied up as he came through the stack. But looks like Williams doesn't like the call much, but he will acquiesce. Goes back to Lanier. Check back in. And a foul called. And some conversation at the front of the stack. Noah Saul not happy.
It looks like he's upset with Christian Foster's dump defense.
Christian Foster does have a tendency to get under some people's skin.
That is true.
Big swing around to Searles Bose.
Yeah, as Ring approaches the end zone here, fans are filtering in from the game behind us.
Another stoppage. John Randolph on the mark against Searles Bose. And the mark broken, but a drop at the back of the end zone and a turnover for Ring.
Just a brutal drop from Laviolette there off of a beautiful break from Searles Bose.
All that work for naught as Laviolette can't make the catch. Ben Snell again will lead the Sockeye D-line offense. Comes around to Dillon. Eli Friedman finds Foster. Hanging pass, caught by Dillon, but he can't keep it in his hand as he goes to ground. Oh, he tried to throw the greatest. And as he was near that far boundary, so another turnover for the Sockeye D-line. They have really struggled to put the disc into the end zone after getting their opportunities. Searles Bose finds Fisher. Laviolette looking deep for Williams. Big layout, but he can't come up with it. Sockeye with another chance.
Decent look from Laviolette on that. Jack Williams with a couple steps going deep. I know the back of the end zone was rapidly approaching, but decent shot.
Snell checks it in. And it's hauled in. Randolph gets a step on Searles Bose. Foster.
Sean Randolph going ISO in the end zone set, what he does best.
Snell fouled by Fisher, and we will have a stoppage. Checked in. Sockeye trying to go back in front. Flip the pass. Dillon makes the catch, and he's in the end zone, and the kick spike. 10-9. Sockeye takes the lead again. Dillon fired up after that point.
Sockeye a little more efficient on their D-line offense this half. Going 1 for 2 to convert. Nice lefty backhand up line for Snell, and amazing athleticism by Dillon to make the catch, toe the line, not let that leading foot land out of bounds, and a passionate celebration after.
A great awareness, not just athleticism, but knowing where he is on the field. And you know, they've had some struggles in the red zone. They've had a few turnovers in spots like that with their D-line. So finishes off the point, gets Seattle back in front. The lead switching hands, it seems like every other point right now.
Yeah, it's great. The game is getting close to the climax. The fans are coming in. This is the atmosphere that you come to the U.S. Open for.
And if you're just joining us, because the game has just now gone live to the world, as the ESPN semifinal between Pony and Truck Stop has concluded. Welcome. It's been some back and forth scoring. Very clean first half, just a couple of breaks. One break apiece. We were on serve at halftime, and Ring broke to go back in front, and we just saw Sockeye break to retake the lead at 10-9. Just over 10 minutes away from the soft cap.
Sockeye looks to maybe be stacking this line a little bit, crossing over Freechild and Raider from the O-line. You saw Raider on the pull there instead of Foster, who's been outstanding pulling all day.
No Saul covered by Billy Katz. Snell in the lane. There's Williams showing off the wheels again, now covered by Freechild. Oh, and blocked. An incredible play from the backside. Julian Hausman just gets away in the way of that flick reset from Williams. And now a stoppage as Sockeye has a great opportunity to extend their lead to 2.
I'll wait till we get another look, but incredible awareness and anticipation from Hausman.
Katz working in the backfield with Snell, and a great break from Katz. And then a turnover from Sockeye as the inside pass a little bit behind Kolzak, and he can't reel it in. Every time we see an amazing play, it seems we see an equal mistake. Back to Ring.
Especially, they did such a great job. Ring rolled onto the upline handler. Katz threw a great break in the IO space and just spoiled at the end.
Williams driving the offense for Ring. No Saul, unmarked. Flips it out to Lanier.
Fisher on the island.
And they go to the one-on-one matchup with Fisher. Raider giving chase to the back line, going up, making the catch, but out of bounds. Lots of contact, but Fisher does not land in. Sockeye disc. What a matchup between Fisher and Raider. And Billy Katz picking up at the back of the end zone, but a substitution seems happening back in the stack. Take another look. Fisher had steps, Raider catching up. And Fisher makes a play, but you can see he's well out the back.
Yeah, ring thrower is having a difficult relationship with the back of the end zone this game, but great grab by Fisher.
So an injury substitution. And Laviolette subs on for Ring. Sockeye back to work. Trent Dillon. Flipped up ahead to Goulson. Both teams working so hard on every cut right now. Freechild unmarked. Steps into a backhand looking for Raider. Williams giving chase. Raider goes up and makes the play with 2 hands. He picks up Williams in a show of good spirit, but that is a huge break for Sockeye. They take the largest lead of the game, if you can believe it, at just 2 goals. It's 11-9.
Amazing aggression and confidence from Dylan Freechild to catch that swing, see that small window on the break side, and put out a picture-perfect backhand hook. Williams does a great job to make up the ground, but Freechild barely puts hang on it, throws to his best deep receiver. You can see the defender on the play go for the block, can't quite recover. Just as he's getting back on the mark, Dylan Freechild seals him out to throw that backhand. And Raider goes up, takes away Williams' line. Williams does a great job not to bid recklessly. Tries to make a play, but Raider comes down with a break. Sockeye now 2 for 3 on break efficiency in the second half after going 1 for 5 in the first half. A big change.
And they had to earn every bit of that efficiency on that point. Both teams cutting extremely hard. And it seems like there must be a timeout on the field. We are not yet to the prescribed heat break. So we wait for teams to come out of this timeout. And
if you're just joining us, we're at heat level 1 here in Blaine, which means at 12 points. We'll take a 3-minute break.
Take a look at the current conditions. It's not really the temperature so much as the humidity, and the relative lack of wind has made it fairly hot. It's definitely felt warm. It's cooling off a little bit, at least in terms of feel, as the humidity has dropped a bit over the last hour or two. But certainly hot and sunny. And we're coming out of this timeout. See the Ring offense trying to right the ship, get the D-line back out there. Under 6 minutes to go until the soft cap. Reminder, there is no hard cap here in the semifinals.
Christian Foster retakes the field for Sockeye and is on the pole.
Another trademark spin pull from Foster.
Saw Yannick on the Ring O-line, not typical for them.
Andrew McKelvey holding, but a foul called downfield as Alex Davis got tied up with Nathan Kwan.
Guarded by his former college teammate.
And, you know, two of the shorter players you'll see in Elite Men's Club Ultimate.
Two of the faster players you'll see in Elite Men's
That's
Club Ultimate.
Absolutely the truth. Birdsong underneath. Elijah Long around to Yannick. Connor Russell, far sideline, and a foul called. And a bit of discussion here as the foul happened in the stack. Let's see if we can check in with players.
Agreed. I mean, he's not contesting the foul.
Okay.
He just doesn't think I have an advantage.
Okay. Hey. Yeah, your arms are up. You're going like this. So we're going to give Sockeye a team F on that. Foul. No contest. Becoming one there.
All right, so a disagreement about positioning, not actually the foul, and a TMF issued to Sockeye for the physicality. And a very difficult inside forehand for the swing pass connects with Birdsong. Yannick, foul called against Sockeye there as Christian Foster came into his space and hit him on his windup for the backhand. And another TMF issued to Foster for, let's see if we can hear. So Foster peeling off and intentionally impeding that huck attempt, given a second TMF. So two back-to-back. The next TMF or PMF will result in a yardage penalty for Seattle. Yannick steps into the backhand. He's got Davis. Chase to the back line, but it's a perfect shot right to the line. Davis beats everybody downfield, and it's a hold for Ring. 11-10, Sockeye leads.
Alex Davis showing off the speed. Saw Yannick is not actually a UNC Darkside member, but I'm sure he's seen Alex Davis make that cut a lot. And if he has a step, people aren't really going to regain that yardage on him. So if you can keep it in bounds, as Yannick does here, and not hang it up, it's as good a shot as any. Beautiful put from Yannick, already making his presence known in the game. You can see Nathan Kwan try and catch it up, but can't close the gap.
It was a great look at Davis as well, starting that cut. A couple of steps in horizontally and then just bursts deep. And even Kwan, who's incredibly fast, cannot make up the ground. Seattle, chance to hold here as the cap comes ever closer. It's just been a great back and forth battle.
A big hold from Ring there. If they get the break back, they can put the game back on serve, but really magnifies the importance of that 7-7 point where both teams had 3 turns each to earn the half break.
And this pole is high, but a little bit short. It will land near to the brick mark for Sockey's offense. Dylan Freechild out into the space. Big swing. Russell goes underneath to Montague, nearly a poach block. Freechild churning underneath. Flips a high release backhand out to Russell. Lots of patience again from Seattle. Bryce Dixon finds Jannon. Bounce backhand. Layout catch from Montague just outside the end zone. He'll check it in on the goal line, and it's an easy score as Freechild goes strike, but there's a call, and it will go back to Montague.
A lot of traffic in that corner. Could be a pick or a foul. I didn't see a hand signal yet.
So players still discussing. So stall count is 3. Montague at the corner. Kasednar trying to get free. Montague needs a reset, gets it to Russell. Freechild at the front of the stack. Montague puts his mark on the ground. Russell, center of the end zone. This time Freechild's free. Huge spike back towards the Ring player, and Jungst a little fired up by that. And I'm surprised to see no TMF given to Freechild for that one, but again, that would be a yardage penalty, so perhaps the observer's keeping it in the pocket despite the spike.
Maybe we'll see the replay. I'm not really sure what Freechild's beef is here. Maybe he's just fired up, in which case it's even more unnecessary, but we'll see if we can take a look. Sockeye, again, working horizontal motion. Montague will throw the flat break there, so Russell can continue to Freechild. I guess Jungst touched him. Maybe he didn't mean to roll it at Jungst. I'm baffled.
I feel like perhaps there was some latent anger about the previous play in the corner, but I don't know. I think that may just be a little Dylan Freechild for you.
I mean, we
always fired up.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dylan's going to spike no matter what. But we're trying to read into the intent, and maybe there was none. If there was, I don't understand it. So.
But the observers deem that spike in the general direction of Jungst not enough to tee him up. So the cap confirmed has gone on. It will be a game to 14, and we're also in a heat timeout. So we'll have an extra 3 minutes between this next point in order for players to catch some shade, get some water in our level 1 heat advisory that was first put into place at College Nationals in Texas, and I think has been a welcome addition to the game. It's nice to have these moments for players to get a little bit of shade in the middle of the game. Seattle with a 12-10 lead, game to 14. We'll be back.
Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go, take down the field.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video. In-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
Documentary shorts.
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
And a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe. Sockeye up a pair in the semifinal. Just 2 points away from a spot in this U.S. Open final. Coming out of this heat break. Ring now in need of 2 breaks to win the game, and they've been in short supply. I mean, they've brought plenty of pressure, Cody, but they haven't really been able to take away the disc from Seattle all that much.
Yeah, only 3 break chances so far for Raleigh. They've converted 2 of them, but you're right, Sockeye has been pretty clean. Their decision-making has been sound. They had an execution miscue on the lefty backhand up line from Cedric to Montague. Other than that, it's been extremely clean for Sockeye, so Ring has their work cut out for them to an extent. And again, thus far has not shown that they're willing to play their junk look, which is something we've seen them feature at Nationals.
And certainly we would see if this was a high-stakes game.
Yes. So we'll see if Ring can do it. Well, they have to get this hold first, but then when the D-line gets back in the field, if they can do it the old-fashioned way.
Christian Foster ready to pull. Foster, you might not be surprised, is an excellent disc golfer. Noah Saul takes a centering pass for Raleigh. Eric Taylor steps into a backhand looking for Williams, but way too much pace. And another missed huck from Raleigh. Everything was going right at the beginning of the game. They could not miss. But since then, it has abandoned them a bit, and they have coughed it up quite a bit with their deep looks.
Taylor just got big eyes from all that open space, but Williams was a bit deep, so he was going to have to put a lot on it, and his technique suffered a bit.
And a call from Ben Snell. No contest. Kolzak up to Friedman. Working the inside lane. Katz. Foster pump fakes the forehand. Breaks to the backhand side. And a hammer from Friedman. Drops it in. Are you not entertained? Julian Hausman pulls it down, and that makes it a 3-point game. It's Seattle's largest lead.
Yeah, Eli Friedman claims to never throw hammers, but that's the second one I've seen him do on film, so maybe it was just the wide open target that enticed him.
Take another look. He looks to the inside lane, but nothing but space for the hammer.
Yeah, tough to diagnose. It might have been a blown switch or just fronting in the end zone that led to Hausman being so wide open. But despite being directly behind the mark in a pretty enclosed space, Friedman comfortable to just loop that hammer over, cash in the break. So Ring back against the wall. They'll need a hold here and 3 straight breaks to win in this game to 14.
That will be a tall task, considering the way that Seattle's played in this game. The crowd has really ballooned after the finish of the Truck Stop Pony game.
And the Tri-Force Boys game.
That's right. And I don't know that we've seen Matt Gucciolhannes in this game at all.
He played his first point a couple ago. He almost got that post block.
Got it.
But yeah, he's featured very lightly, and as a franchise player, so to speak, for Ring, his absence has been notable.
Absolutely. And he's been tremendous on defense this weekend. And just across the board, but multiple coaches have noted to me that he has played fantastic defense, and they have not had his services much at all this game. Ring trying to extend the contest in a game to 14. Lanier finds Fisher, bounce to Taylor. Laviolette. Back around to Fisher. Searles Bowes inside backhand, easily taken away. Duncan Lynn just poaches the lane, but there's a call.
Looks like a foul on the throw called by Searles Bowes.
And it'll be uncontested by Friedman. So Searles Bowes will check back in. Saul. To Taylor. Forehand up the line into the end zone for Laviolette. And Ring's offense makes it a 2-point game.
Clean end zone from Ring. Working the break side off that blow-by cut. When they transition and divert, it's pretty clinical. That 3-man game from the front of the stack.
Just a nice move by Laviolette to finish it off. See Freechild heading out to the line, looking to close the game out on offense. David Allison talking to the Ring D-line. Facing down, prospect of needing 3 straight scores. Joey Cretella. Set to pull.
And not much crossover here from Ring of Fire to their D-line. Could be saving it for later. We're just trying to get their D-line reps.
Pull lands near the back line, center to Montague.
Oh, we do see a little junk from Ring here. It's their 3-man zone. It's traditional 3-man cup, essentially on that far side, top of the screen. More diamond in the middle, and a bit of a trap with a mark on the first reset over here.
Trent Dillon back to Montague, swings across to Freechild. Punch through to Phil Murray.
I think Sockeye has seen quite a bit of junk this weekend, though, between their games with the Buzz Bullets and Nomadic Tribe.
Patience from Sockeye, working carefully through this junk. You can hear the fire calls from the sideline. And a zipped forehand into the end zone for Trent Dillon. Chris Kasednar on the assist, and Sockeye takes down the win, 14-11 over Ring of Fire. They're headed to the U.S. Open final.
Sockeye with a very clean performance. Obviously, it was close in the first half. Sockeye, Ring was hitting on everything, and when they weren't hitting, Sockeye's D-line efficiency wasn't there. But in the second half, Ring regressed a tad bit to the mean on their shots. Sockeye's D-line offense efficiency went way up, and ultimately they were able to run off a handful of breaks to put this game away.
Two teams that we could see meet again in a big spot later in the season or in the postseason. And a super fun game to watch. Some exciting plays from both sides. Raleigh will have to feel pretty good about the way that they played, I think, overall, considering that they were missing some really important pieces for much of the contest.
Absolutely. They were missing Soljanek and Matt Gutierrez for a lot of the game. They've only practiced a handful of times and are integrating a lot of these new faces. To go toe-to-toe with a team as well-oiled as Sockeye right now and play 14-11 is an accomplishment. Obviously, they wanted to win, but it portends very good things for this young team's future as they integrate, implement more things, and are more willing to throw their entire playbook when they get on the field.
So we have mixed division action coming up later tonight over on ESPN. That will do it for our coverage here from this one in the men's division. Final score here, Seattle Sockeye 14, Raleigh Ring of Fire 11. For Cody Mills, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon.
Every time the pressure rises, we play better. Let's go take down the champ.
An Ultiworld subscription gets you closer to the players and personalities you care about with game video, in-depth written and video analysis,
He's going to take off deep, but what he does is very simple.
documentary shorts,
And we've played Brute Squad before, and it just feels a little bit harder to lose this year.
and a whole lot more. To get your subscription or learn more, go to ultiworld.com/subscribe.